So far, I mean, just in terms of what we've seen so far with Avengers Infinity War and Deadpool 2, it's an excellent movie at the box office. It's up about 5% from last year, so doing really well so far, and some big movies still to open. One is opened last night, Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom, and I saw you have some dinosaurs in your studio. I'm kind of jealous, I got to admit.
Okay. We're doing that for Jurassic Park and the newest release, and you know, we've already seen that this movie has been out, what is it, 15 days that we've seen at this point overseas? It's just now going to be launching tonight.
Oh, wow.
What's the take on what we've seen from the overseas box office, and what does that tell us about the international portion?
Yeah, so far, I mean, it's made about $435 million overseas. It did really well in China. Opening weekend, it opened at about $113 million. Which is really, really a good sign. I think we got some early numbers from last night here, Thursday night previews. They're talking about $11 million. The last Jurassic did about $18 million. So it's down a little bit, but you have to remember when the last Jurassic World came out, there hadn't been a Jurassic movie in about 14 years. So there was a huge anticipation, and people hadn't seen dinosaurs in so many years, so they raced out to the theater. So it's not really an indication of how it's going to do this weekend, but early numbers are saying about 130 to 150 million, which is nothing to sneeze about.
You know, we have seen other movies that have opened first overseas, and for the most part, not with everything, but for the most part, it's been because maybe the movie wasn't expected to do quite as well. It didn't do well with the critics. I've seen two different storylines with this. Yeah.
Well, with this one, I think what they were really trying to do is get a jump on the World Cup. That's what I've heard, because they know they're going to, you know, the audience is going to fall off after, you know, once that starts. People like their soccer even more than they like dinosaurs. So I think that was the thinking with that. I don't necessarily think it had anything to do with reviews.
All right, Nikki, what else are you watching, just in terms of things being up? Is that just better content this summer? Or you think there's any other trends that are pushing audiences up this summer?
Absolutely. I think, you know, the big story of 2017 was that it really wasn't a strong year at the box office. There wasn't a lot to choose from. There were some sort of tired franchises that people weren't necessarily excited to go see. One franchise that has been going strong, and I actually think they might have the biggest box office worldwide they've ever had, is Mission Impossible. Mission Impossible Fallout comes out at the end of July, and I have to say the latest trailer is probably the best action movie trailer I have ever seen. And these movies just keep getting better and better. And one, you know, what we know about Tom Cruise is he keeps upping the ante. And in this film, he's talked about, you know, I saw him at CinemaCon a couple of months ago. He talked about this one stunt he does where he jumps out of an airplane, and he had to do it 102 times just to get it right. And yeah, it's unbelievable. And they only had about a 3-minute window every day, so it was 102 days in a row he had to jump out of an airplane. And of course, they have Henry Cavill in this film, who is Superman. So I think that's gonna, you know, he's got such a young audience and people love him. So I really think this one is going to do well.
I saw
102 days in a row.
I saw a tape of that. I mean, anyone that questions Tom Cruise, and I've seen him break his ankle on one of those stunts too, Nikki, in the last one, I think. But that guy, I mean, it makes me wonder whether he's all there. But I mean, it was it from wasn't it from 25,000 feet too? There was oxygen. They could run into each other. There was. I mean, that is unbelievable.
You're absolutely correct.
I mean, you gotta love the guy. I mean, you really.
He's hands down my favorite. I got to interview him for the first time last year, and I don't usually get starstruck because that's my job, but I was completely starstruck. The man is unbelievable. He's my favorite.
Seen him in an elevator, and he was with Katie Holmes at the time. But every person in the elevator, he held their gaze and nodded and was. I mean, that's the way you build a fan base too. I mean, not the.
That's a class act.
Yeah.
That's a class act.
Yeah, and when he does red carpets, he talks to every last outlet. He does not leave a single person out. And I met him as well, and prior to interviewing him, and he was the same way. He knows everybody wants to talk to him, so he goes around and he will shake your hand because he knows some people are afraid to approach him.
What got me was now those shots of him on the Malaysian skyscraper. I thought they were fake, and now I realize those were real, and now it just makes my hands sweat because I'm so afraid of things like that. But he was on the outside at like 105 stories or something.
Oh yeah, and the last film where he was hanging off the side of an airplane.
Yeah, off the side. That's true too.
Most of the stuff he does, you know, they tell him it's really, really dangerous. And actually, Henry Cavill talked about filming this film and saying that he felt like he was close to death a couple of times himself.
Right.
And you just had to put your faith in Tom Cruise's hands because he was actually piloting the helicopter that they were flying.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.